Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on a Tuesday afternoon. Appreciate everyone jumping in on Fantasy Alarm, Bettor Sports Network YouTubes. Today, no Jon Impemba right now. I got Howard Bender filling in on a Tuesday. He's not usually on these Tuesday shows, so it's nice to see your face 2 days in a row here, Howard.
Servo, you old scoundrel, you. What's going on, brother? How are you? Thanks for having me. Yeah, Johnny had a little last-minute thing pop up. I'm always happy to jump in here, right? So,
yeah.
What's new?
Well, we got to react to this Monday Night Football game from last night. Just a debacle of an ending there, and then the Bills now firing their OC, Ken Dorsey. Got some college basketball picks that I'll give out for tonight's games. We got the Champions Classic. Should be two really good games there. Duke, Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky. Also got some other really good non-conference matchups like Marquette, Illinois, Wisconsin, Providence. So I'll have some picks out for that coming up on today's show. Producer Adam Bernard will be talking some hockey, give us some NHL picks for tonight's games. And then we'll see if we get John coming on to give some of his own NBA bets for tonight. We got the in-season tournament in the NBA going on tonight. So we'll get to all of it, covering all the sports. I'll tell you what,
Servo, if John doesn't show, I'll give out Iggy's bet of the night tonight, which is a 2-unit bet. So if John doesn't show, I'll give you guys Iggy's because that's behind the paywall right now, and I'll happily give it out.
Iggy's been rolling this NBA season, so that's some gold right there. If you don't have the Fantasy Alarm All Pro subscription, all right, yeah, let's dive right into just reacting to this Bills loss because we were both on the show yesterday. Gave out our bets and picks for that game. We were both, I think you gave out the bet, but I was agreeing with you that, take the Bills minus the 6.5, -7, -7.5. We thought it would be an easy Bills win. They lose outright. They don't even worry about covering. They lose that game. And today we get the news that the Bills have fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. A lot of talk on Twitter and around the fantasy or betting circles that maybe it wasn't all on Ken Dorsey for the turnovers that Josh Allen had last night, but I don't know. Instant reactions to this. We'll touch on a couple of odds, futures odds for the Bills going forward. But I mean, it's pretty embarrassing that they lost at home the way they did last night.
Oh, I mean, listen, for the 12 men on the field on the field goal, I mean, come on, really?
That wasn't the offensive coordinator's fault.
No, that is not on Ken Dorsey, no doubt about it. But I mean, listen, there's a lot going on here with the Bills. Now, personally, listen, I'll say this. I thought Joe Brady got a raw deal in Carolina. Coop and I were talking about this on Alarm Fantasy Football. Matt Rule should have been the guy to get fired, and then you could have moved, Joe Brady into that interim head coach, let him keep running that offense. So, I do think that this is actually an improvement in offensive coordinator. I'm a big Joe Brady fan. The issue here that really we sit with is, the Bills didn't go out and get themselves any help, in the offseason, right? Dalton Kincaid's great, and that's, fantastic. But, why didn't you get a wide receiver too to be opposite Stephon Diggs? Gabe Davis isn't that guy. Gabe Davis is a great wide receiver 3, right? I'd put Gabe Davis as wide receiver 3 over Khalil Shakir, who's a good wide receiver 4, right? But you don't have anything in that spot. And I think that is, very problematic here for Buffalo. And I thought they should have gone after somebody at the trade deadline, but they didn't. Bottom line is, it's going to be interesting to see how Joe Brady alters the offensive scheme that was laid out. Like Dorsey was just kind of carrying over, the old regimes with putting his own little spin on it. But, this was still more or less a lot of Brian Daboll in there. And that's really the question. Is Brian Daboll the guy who keeps Josh Allen in line? And can Joe Brady help make that happen? Coop did a great imitation of the announcers from the broadcast last night. They were like, yeah, Josh Allen, I mean, he's a fantastic player. He's got a cannon of an arm. He can run the football and everything. All things considered, he is a phenomenal quarterback. The one little thing, like if I had to nitpick here, would be to say that, he gives the ball to the other side too much, right? Like, I mean, that's really what they were doing on the broadcast. I mean, that was it's the turnovers here for Josh Allen that are killing them. Can Joe Brady get him to calm down? Can he get him to wrangle that in? We're going to have to wait and see. But I mean, nothing really changes in the realm. It's kind of funny. The over under on the, I can't remember what the exact number was. I think it was 10.5 for the Bills, their win total. And
I got it up right now. Yeah, it's 10. It was 10.5 preseason, and we both went under.
Both went under. Britt Flynn went under also, and she got flamed on TikTok for throwing that out as a hot take, and we were all in on the under also. So, I mean, this is from a betting standpoint now, when you're looking at this, AFC East. I'm sure the movement on the Dolphins has probably been significant as for them to, win this division.
Yeah, right now the Dolphins are minus 350 favorites to win the AFC East over on BetMGM Sportsbook. The Bills now down to plus 350. And at the beginning of the season was basically they were co-favorites to win this division. The Jets slightly behind. But yeah, the Bills now fallen. If you're looking at them to possibly win the AFC East, even they're at plus 1,200 and plus 2,200 to win the Super Bowl on BetMGM Sportsbook. So their odds are plummeting. And you look at their schedule coming up, it's a rough one because they get the Jets next week, which they lost week 1 against the Jets. So who knows? Division game. But coming up after that, they get the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, and Chargers, and then they finish the season with the Dolphins. This is a tough schedule, and I remember when we broke down, each team's win totals at the beginning of the year. I specifically remember going through this schedule and just seeing wow, the Bills have a gauntlet, especially late in the year in this second half of the season, and if they drop a couple games early, a lot of these games, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Dolphins, I could see them losing any of these, and probably multiple ones. So it's a tough back end of the schedule for them to try to, even make the playoffs now in the AFC.
But I'll say this: at plus 350 right now, with the Dolphins at minus 350, I think you can. Dolphins are 6-3, right, and the Bills are 5-5.
Yeah.
Okay. The Jets and the Patriots aren't going anywhere. Nowhere. Forget it. The organization, the Jets are dead with Nathaniel Hackett as their OC, and the Patriots are dead in the water. They don't have a QB, and they don't even know what they're doing. So it comes down to the Dolphins and the Bills. They're, game and a half apart right now in the standings. If Tua goes down, gets hurt, what happens with the Dolphins?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's a gauntlet. Both teams, both the Dolphins and the Bills, have very, very tough schedules coming up. So I think that if Vegas is going to give me plus 350 for the Bills just to win the division, that's it, just to win the division, I would sprinkle a little something on that just to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a insurmountable lead. Maybe you could say the Lions in the NFC North with even though Josh Dobbs has come on strong with the Vikings, you kind of pencil in the Lions to win that division. But yeah, this isn't a 5-game lead in a division at this point. This is, the Bills, if they could turn it around, and the Dolphins, suffer a couple losses coming up, then yeah, these odds could easily change in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm with you. I think there's value on the Bills for sure. But I am glad we both took the under on their win total because I don't think they're getting to 11 wins this season. I will say that.
Tell you, it's brutal, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. Bills Mafia was so mad at us for that take.
Listen,
wake up, kids, wake up.
It was a team that went 12-5 last year, and taking the under, you could still have a 10-win season by the Bills. It's just kind of picking those two games that could go the other way. So.
If you've got it in front of you right now, what's Minnesota? What was Minnesota's win total?
Minnesota was 8.5.
And I took the over, right?
You took the over. I went under.
And they got what? They're 6-3 right now? 5-4?
Pulling it up.
Where's
right
Minnesota
now.
at this point?
They are 6-4.
6-4. Beautiful. Beautiful.
You're
That was
feeling good
another
about
one.
that?
What's that?
You're feeling good about that?
Well, I mean, I like it because, you know, that this was a polarizing team and you really had to like kind of figure out what was going on with them. They won 12 games last year. So why was their win total sitting at 8.5? Like that, you know, is kind of crazy. But
I think it's because they went, I forget the record, but they had a stellar record in like 1-score games last year. That was just the luck factor, I think, kind of really helped them last year. And early in the year, they did drop a couple of those 1-score games. So it was kind of trending that way. Now they've reeled off 5 straight wins, I think. So Josh Dobbs, man.
Well, they have the magic of that right now. So that definitely makes me feel good. That was another one that I was kind of like, which way do I go on that? So the Bills it's trending on that under, which is going to be tough for everybody to stomach. And the Minnesota Vikings, even with losing Kirk Cousins, losing their starting quarterback, could end up going over on their total. Just need 3 more wins out of them. Come on, Vikings, Skull Vikings.
By the way, Denver now 4-5 with a 3-game winning streak. Now their preseason win total was 8.5. We both went under on that one. Yeah. So we'll see. That one's still up in the air. But
are you buying Denver right now?
Man,
it's tough, right?
Well, the fact that it is Sean Payton and it is, I mean, it's still Russell Wilson, as bad as he was last year. This is still, you know, a Super Bowl winning veteran quarterback. Their defense has been playing a lot better in recent weeks. So I'm not writing them off. I mean, I don't think they're going to win overcome the Chiefs in that division, but they could sneak in the playoffs. It's not over for them.
It's not over for them. It's so funny too, because I was watching the games on Sunday and you know, when Minnesota won, just looking at like social media and everything with all the Josh Dobbs stuff. I mean, it was crazy, you know, about, you know, talking about, you know, all the awards that he should be winning. What's going on? And immediately I was like, oh, okay, let me see who they play next week. Oh, look, Denver. And I tweeted out, I'm like, I'm definitely taking Denver and the points, whatever points they give me next week. Right. And I was like being a smart ass because of all the hype there. But now all this hype is falling onto Denver, that they've suddenly figured it out and what's happening here. So now I'm like, this is like, no wonder that, you know, they didn't flex that game out of prime time, because you've got like, you know, the feel-good story of the year right now in Josh Dobbs. Rocket scientist goes from bench warmer to, you know, starting quarterback, throwing to Justin Jefferson, possibly even this week.
Yeah.
And Denver, you know, it's like, oh, they're turning their whole season around. They've won a couple in a row. Big upset off of the Bills. The point spread's garbage too in that one. Don't even like it. I think it like Denver favored by 2.5.
Is it?
So bad.
I mean, that one is, it's a Sunday night football team game, as you said. They didn't flex it out because both teams coming in on a win streak and storylines abound on both sides. So we'll see. We'll be giving out some betting picks on Friday's show. We'll be previewing some more games on Wednesday tomorrow. So we'll see if we throw that one in to discuss more. But yeah, the Bills, man. And it's crazy how that game ended, by the way, because the 12 men on the field, they missed the field goal. And then, it was just perplexing to watch how the Broncos did that, because they didn't have any more timeouts and they took a knee with like 25 seconds. And then they ran the field goal unit out there, which obviously threw off the Bills when they were trying to switch their defense around. But and he makes the game-winning field goal after that, Will Lutz. So
just unbelievable the way that game like finished up. I mean, even, you know, it's like the Bills were like, you know, making their way back into it, right? And James Cook, you know, comes back from being benched to recovering his own fumble and then
He
taking
did.
it and they were like, yeah, we're just going to give him credit for the 42-yard run here. And that popped his rushing yards prop, that completely exploded. And then, and then for the whole, I mean, it was terrible. Just it was like, which team wants to lose this game more? How many times are you going to kind of give this away to the other team? But yeah, the field goal, the 12 man on the field, it's inexcusable. It wasn't even like a guy was running off the field to, being like, oh shit, I got to do it before they snap the ball. It wasn't even like that. They were all lined up already. There was a guy who was legit at the wrong place, shouldn't had no business being there. And he was just like, all right, I'm in. What do we got?
By the way, the Dalton Kincaid, I gave out his over on receiving yards.
Garbage too. I lost on that one.
You gave his over on receptions, and we both missed it by 1 catch and 2 yards.
Yeah, it was that 6-yard drop in the second half. I was like, are you effing kidding me? That 6-yard drop right there cost you and I both the money.
It's tough. It's a tough one.
It is tough.
I did get Alex Singleton's tackles. He had 11 total tackles, so I'm glad I hit that one at least.
I'm very happy for you.
I did notice Josie Jewell finished with 6 total.
Yes. Josie Jewell did not do it for me. And then, but I hit on some other stuff there. Cortland Sutton, right?
Yeah.
I nailed Cortland Sutton. I think I had, what else did I have in that? Let me sneak a gander here and figure it out, because it wasn't terrible. So I had I lost the spread. I won the over under. I lost Kincaid. I won Josh Allen over 33.5 pass attempts. I hit Cortland Sutton over 3.5 receptions. I hit Javonte Williams over 2.5 receptions as well. So 3 and 2 on my props. 1 and 1 on the game bets.
There you go. That's a plus money day overall. All right, let's talk some college basketball. I want to give out some picks for tonight's games. And by the way, I got the college basketball DFS playbook up for tonight's slate. A really fun slate. So go jump on that. Hit big, by the way, last night in DFS. If you followed the playbook last night, had a big night. So I think I'm seeing the board pretty well, at least in DFS circles. It was so in the betting picks I gave out on yesterday's show, but we moved past that. But the college basketball DFS playbook, go check that out right now. Fantasy Alarm All-Pro subscription. Promo code WIN if you go over to fantasyalarm.com/win to get the All-Pro subscription. As you mentioned, we got the NBA Best Bets article tonight. We got NBA DFS tonight, NHL, all this stuff coming up. And all this week we'll have fantasy football content with that All-Pro subscription. But tonight's slate, though, got Champions Classic. I'll go first with this one. Duke, Michigan State is the first game of this Champions Classic, and I'm taking the under in this one. This is going to be a battle because Duke just lost at home to Arizona. Michigan State already lost a game to James Madison. These two teams are desperate to win this game, and I think it's going to be just setting up for a defensive battle with both teams just bringing the defensive effort and intensity to make sure they don't either team stretches out a lead at any point. So I just see this being very defensive here. So I'm taking the under. I expect Tom Izzo and Michigan State to have a game plan defensively to slow down Kyle Filipowski down low. And when we saw against Arizona last game, when Filipowski was out of the game or when he was missing shots, Duke's offense, they didn't really hit their stride. They hit lulls at times when Filipowski wasn't doing his thing. So I think Michigan State's going to come in here, veteran, Tom Izzo and a veteran team, just having a game plan to slow down one of the best players in the sport and force Duke's other guys to beat them. Overall this season, by the way, Duke and Michigan State, both very slow-paced teams, slow tempo, both like 270th or lower in pace in the sport. Was the same thing last year, by the way, for both these teams. So this is just carrying over. Both teams like to slow it down offensively, but also just play that tight defense on the other side. And Michigan State's offense has really struggled from 3-point range this season. It's been an issue. They're just missing shots left and right. So I think that continues here. They're playing in an NBA gym in Chicago for this Champions Classic, which when college teams go to play in these big arenas, we've seen, especially early in the game, just more missed shots than normal. With just, the change in sight lines and like the big game feel of it, maybe some early game jitters. So, I have the under in this Duke Michigan State game.
I can dig that. Listen, I'd rather be putting some action on the Duke Michigan State than what was the other one? Duke against who was it? Cripple Creek State Teachers College. The last time you had me betting on Duke,
Dartmouth, and it was a winner. All right, how about Wisconsin Providence is another huge game tonight, non-conference game. It's at Providence here. Wisconsin lost to Tennessee their last game at home, and I think they're going to be motivated for this game on the road to get the win, go into Providence and get a big, non-conference game, resume boosting win for them. Coming off that loss. Last year, early in the season, we saw Wisconsin go on the road and beat both Marquette and Iowa early in the season. So this is a team that won't shy away from this road matchup spot to go in and get a win. Wisconsin is just, I think they're just a better overall team than Providence right now, and they're more battle-tested, having to face a top 10 team in Tennessee already. Providence has not been proven this year. They faced two easy opponents and just have not had the same, battle-tested moment that Wisconsin has had. And Providence, they went through a coaching change this offseason. Ed Cooley's over at Georgetown now. Kim English now at Providence. And I just need to see him, get an actual, resume, good win for him as a power conference coach now. After he was at George Mason. This is a big step up for him and a big step up for Providence. And their last game was only a 10-point win over Milwaukee, which is 226th in KenPom's ratings this year. So I think Wisconsin's going to come here, the better overall, more well-rounded team tonight and get the road win. So just got the money line, not worrying about the spread here, -120 on the money line at BetMGM. We got Jon Impemba filling in. We tap out Howard Bender. We got to get the long reliever in here with Jon Impemba. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. We got a little college basketball NBA talk going on here, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Howard, for jumping in here. We'll continue here with John. I got a couple more college picks, and then we'll get to your NBA bets here in a sec. Next one I got Texas A&M. On the road at SMU. Give me Texas A&M and the points here. -5.5 is the spread over on BetMGM. A&M just a top 10 caliber team and a dark horse Final Four team this year. And one of my favorite, early buys in the season when they're facing some of these other non-conference teams. Bet on them against Ohio State on Friday, and they got the tough road win. Was really impressed with that. They're now, very battle-tested already, going on the road to beat Ohio State, and now they're going on the road to SMU, which is an easier matchup. And SMU is another unproven team this year. They've had 3 cupcake matchups to start the year. This is just a big step up in competition. They've beaten Lamar and Western Illinois in these past 2 games. Texas A&M is very good defense, very efficient offense. This is a tough matchup for SMU, who their best player, Zurich Phelps, is very good. But he isn't shooting well to start the season. And if he's not on, then SMU lacks other, role guys and playmakers to pick up the slack and to keep it close if Phelps is kind of slow and it isn't on his game, which, as I mentioned, he hasn't been in the past couple games. Other guys have been, just having to make do. But Texas A&M has the defensive backcourt and talent to frustrate and limit Phelps. Wade Taylor and Tyrese Radford, one of the best backcourt duos in the SEC, in the country. And again, outside of Phelps, I just really worry about the rest of SMU's unproven roster to really keep this one close. So I think Texas A&M going to go in here, get a convincing win to cover the spread. And then last one, Jacksonville State plus 7.5. Last time I checked, was the line. Last night, I got this at plus 12.5. This line has been moving because West Virginia is a mess this year. I faded them earlier this year multiple times, and it's been paying off. I'm going to keep doing it because West Virginia's offseason was just a mess with Bob Huggins resigning. They lost a ton of players in the transfer portal, had to replace a ton of talent overall, brought in transfers. They're still playing without their point guard, Kirk Kriisa, who's suspended to begin the season, which I think is huge because they just lack trustworthy ball handlers without Kriisa in the lineup as their point guard. So I worry about this offense just hitting stretches where they can't get baskets. They can't, find baskets. They just lost at home to Monmouth on Friday and barely beat Missouri State in the season opener. Jacksonville State is not a good team, okay? They're not a good team, but this is just a complete fade of West Virginia until I can see West Virginia can actually handle, easy opponents, which they haven't proven so far. And Jacksonville State is actually rated higher in KenPom and Bart Torvik advanced ratings than Monmouth, which is the team that just beat West Virginia. So, give me Jacksonville State here. They got a dude, Kai Tandy, transfer from Xavier, who, I think it's huge for any underdog mid-major team to have a guy that's transferred from a power conference team that can be their, go-to lean on playmaker who's not going to back down from the spot on the road at West Virginia. So, give me the Jack State Gamecocks for this one.
I mean, it's a big line movement. You get 5 points down from what you had it on.
It might be moving more by the time tip-off comes, honestly, because it's one of those things in college basketball where it's what people realize West Virginia and Louisville is another team where I've been just fading because these two teams are a mess right now to begin the season. So, All right, how about some NBA? I know you got some NBA picks for us.
I do.
By the way, over on FantasyAlarm.com, we got Iggy Gilbert's best bets article for tonight's slate. So definitely go check that out because he's been on fire for us and giving out winners left and right with his best bets articles. So check that out with the Fantasy Alarm All Pro subscription. All right, where are you going? We got the NBA in-season tournament, right? All games tonight in the in-season tournament, these special courts.
Yeah, I was saying the Phoenix Suns have a court that I think is
some of them are eyesores.
One of the uglier courts that we have probably so far that I've seen. Just the whole color pattern of it really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I'm just going to throw it on the screen for everybody so they can see what we're talking about here.
Ugh.
I mean, what are we doing?
Plus, they wear their purple jerseys on top.
Sometimes, yeah. So you got a full purple with I don't know where the blue fits into what the Suns are, but anyways, that's what they got at Phoenix for their city courts here. I got a couple of plays. I'm going to start out one off here, and I put this in the Discord because Dan, sometimes we look at lines and we think there's just something weird about it. You're like, this one doesn't make sense. So we have the tonight the Nuggets at home against the Clippers, and they're giving just 4.5 in this game. I say giving just 4.5 because the Clippers have been atrocious essentially since James Harden and that whole crew basically got together. They've lost 5 straight, including the fact that they were just 8-point home favorites against the Memphis Grizzlies, who had 1 win going into that game and lost outright to Memphis, going on the road as an 8-point favorite at home. And now they're going into the defending champions, into the face what likely is going to be the league MVP this year in Nikola Jokic, a team that is just rolling through opponents, and it's only a 4.5 point spread. I don't get it. It feels like it's too low to me, so I'm all in on Denver here. I think this is still the books giving a little bit too much credit to the name value of what's on the Clippers roster with Westbrook, Harden, George, and Leonard. But they've lost 5 straight games. They're 0-5 against the spread on the road this year. I don't know. It feels like a weird line to me. Almost like maybe someone's going to get ruled out tonight, right? All of a sudden, 9:30 rolls around and Michael Porter Jr. is out, or Jokic is out, or something like that. I don't know. Feels like a weird line, but I'm going to bet it now. I think 4.5 feels too low for this game, given the way the Clippers are playing. So give me Denver minus 4.5. Another line I'm going to be looking at here.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Good.
So these lines for whatever sport, but I totally agree with you. Like when you see a line that's just kind of feels a little weird, a little suspicious, there's two ways to go on it. One way is like, all right, I'm taking the Clippers and the points because this line makes no sense. The other is like, I think you got to think that Vegas is just begging people to take the Clippers here.
Right.
And the other way to go is, take Denver to win and cover because they're just, this, and it might be a spread that kind of moves up closer to Denver with late money coming in. So,
Right.
there's two ways to go on it. But obviously, I think, especially with Denver, they lost to Houston their last game, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like they're going to bounce back and get this one.
Agreed. And Houston's actually been a really good team. They won like 6 straight. I mean, like Ime Udoka's gone in there and just like really helped them. Some of their younger players are obviously developing now. Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, that whole crew. They're really playing some good basketball for Houston. So, Houston could be a surprise team. But Denver 4-2 at home against the spread against the Clippers team, 0-5 on the road against the spread in their current state of play. I feel like this is a pretty easy, nothing's easy, but feels like Denver should be able to handle this one pretty well. Another line I'm looking at here, and this is one that moved huge with the Steph Curry news. Golden State's at home tonight going up against Minnesota. Minnesota's been one of the best teams in the West to start the year. They're 7-2 on the year, 6-3 against the spread over their last 10 games here. But Steph Curry got ruled out. So this game went from Golden State giving 4 to now them getting 2.5. So you have Minnesota on the road giving 2.5 here against Golden State without Steph Curry. I still think that's too low the way Minnesota's been playing basketball. I tweeted out today, if you're looking for like a long shot dark horse MVP bet, you have Anthony Edwards at plus 2,500 right now. Anthony Edwards is playing out of his mind. This is an absolute breakout season. He's every statistical category he is better than this year than he was last year. And it's, 28.5 points per game, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals are there. Shooting the 3-ball better, shooting free throws better. Everything is sort of trending towards Anthony Edwards having this monster season. And if Minnesota goes out there and is a top 2 seed in the West this year because of it, like Anthony Edwards right now could be really great value as an MVP candidate at plus 2,500. So I'm kind of taking all of that into account and then no Steph Curry here. And I think the 2.5 feels too low still for Minnesota. So I like the Timberwolves minus 2.5 here.
Yeah, when you see line movement like that, it's telling you something. So I like that.
A couple of player props that I have here tonight. I like Jordan Clarkson over 20.5 points scored. 2 games ago, we had Walker Kessler get injured, and the Jazz just sort of flipped their starting lineup. They put Ochai Agbaji, I think is how you pronounce his name, and Keontae George in their starting lineup, and essentially took Talen Horton-Tucker onto the bench, and they replaced Walker Kessler, who's been hurt, with John Collins as their center. What's this done now is taken some high-volume shooters off the floor and put guys like George and Agbaji who aren't really there yet with their offensive development. And it's led to Jordan Clarkson taking 40 shots over the last 2 games. So he's gone over to this 20.5 point total in each of those 2 games. There's like 31 and 26 points scored here. He had a 26 shot game in one of those 2 here. So just pure volume. We have Jordan Clarkson here over the 20.5 going up against Portland, who's down Malcolm Brogdon. They're down Henderson. They're down Anthony Simon. So really hurting in their backcourt. Going with Shaedon Sharpe playing basically 40 plus minutes a night, and they called up Skylar Mays, signed him to their starting, their roster. He's played back-to-back games for them, so I think Clarkson's just going to have the green light here with that new starting lineup for the Jazz, like we've seen, and go over 20.5 probably pretty easily here tonight, given that matchup there. And then my last play, I like Cam Johnson over 2.5 3-pointers made. Returned for Brooklyn 2 nights ago, played 25 minutes, took 6 3-pointers, and then he played 35 minutes in his second game back, a quick ramp up. He took 11 3-pointers. Now, this is a guy that in Phoenix was a 42, 45% 3-point shooter. This year, he's only shooting 28%. He's only played a couple of games due to injury here, but if he's going to take 10 plus threes, all he needs to do is make 3 of them and shoot 30% from 3 for a guy that's a 40% 3-point shooter. I'm going to like his odds tonight against Orlando to go over the 2.5 3-pointers if we're going to lock him in for 35 minutes and taking 10 plus 3-pointers. So more often than not, he's going to make more than 3 of those. So I'll do the over 2.5 3-pointers made here tonight.
All right. I gotta ask you a quick question about
Sure.
the in-season tournament. Do you take any like how much stock do you take in the fact that it is like an in-season tournament, and if certain teams have more motivation to play, and like especially like underdogs who are trying to
Yeah.
like get this in-season tournament win and maybe put that on their mantle. They're not going to compete for the NBA title, but and maybe a team like a Denver, maybe just not taking it as tough because they're looking
Yeah.
at the long-term goal here.
My so far opinion of the in-season tournament is the players don't seem to care that it's an in-season tournament. So I don't care that it's an in-season tournament.
Except LeBron. After I think they beat the Suns.
Yeah. Well,
They
he's
his
camping in the league, that's
yeah
fine. But yeah, I
his
think
post game interview though, he was like, "Oh, there's like $100,000 on the line. Like we're definitely trying to win."
yeah, and I think he's just saying that for the face of the league. But there's been
Yeah.
other players that are like, yeah, I don't even know what this is. I don't know why it is. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I've seen some people like float out ways to make it valuable. For the in-season tournament. One of them was like, if you win the in-season tournament, you're guaranteed a playoff spot. So you win the in-season tournament, and you're now guaranteed whether it's one of the play-in games, but like you're in there no matter what. So that would give an incentive to maybe a team that isn't going to be there down the stretch, but maybe early in the season make it worthy for, I don't know, Charlotte or, a team that isn't expected to be a top 8 in their conference, whatever. But if they win the Eastern tournament, now they're guaranteed a play-in spot, So
Yeah.
like, I thought that was kind of a good idea. Like, because some of these players, like you said, don't care about the $100,000. They don't care about an in-season tournament win. But if there's playoff spots on the line, a guaranteed in on the playoffs, like that's valuable. That's something that I think players would play for, even players that are on bad teams that may not have an opportunity to really go out there and win. You might not hear Zion Williamson be like, I'm struggling to buy in right now. He might actually be looking at this playing tournament and be like, okay, like we have a shot. We might actually be able to go in and play some of these games. You won't have teams maybe sitting out guys like we've seen now for rest on these playing games, because they don't really care about it. So something to think about, as this evolves, if that's a way to get it going. But I don't really put a lot of stock into that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we see any motivational changes, like when it's because right now it's the group play in the in-season tournament, but once we start getting into the knockout games, if it's like all of a sudden we see a team, if Charlotte is there and like they're playing hard and they're going for it.
Imagine if the Wizards, because the in-season tournament meant a playoff spot, they went out there and like locked in a playoff spot. I mean, how crazy would that have been, right?
Dude, I'm sure you saw what happened with the Wizards last night, right?
Yeah, they blew they had a 99% chance to win in that game, and they lost. So,
and shout out to our old colleague with Pickswise, Mark Zinno, who's one of their NBA guys, all sports better. I saw him post on Twitter. He lost. He bet on the over on the Wizards team total. It was like
they didn't score again.
107.5, and they didn't score for the past like 5 minutes. They were stuck on 106, 107.
Yeah,
ugly. All right, got a question in the chat here. Thanks for tuning in here. DeAndre Swift season. I love that as an Eagles fan.
Where's he been though? Huh? He started off the season so hot.
I know they don't want to give him too much work. They're saving him for the end of the season. They got more, this week against the Chiefs. Maybe they're just kind of waiting for him to break out. DeAndre Swift season saying, sup, got money on a 4 money line leg here, parlay, plus 900. He's got Duke, Morehead State, Harvard, Colgate against Syracuse. Love the channel. We'll tail over 2.5 threes. Oh, for Cam Johnson, I'm assuming there. All right. Colgate is an interesting one there because they got Syracuse. They've actually beaten Syracuse each of the past 2 seasons in this matchup. I feel like Syracuse could get them back here, but I do think Colgate is very live in that game, so I can't knock that one. Let me just pull up the schedule to see who Morehead State and Harvard have. Real quick on Duke. I do think they're going to win against Michigan State here. The underdogs, by the way, in Champions Classic games have been hitting, especially, covering the spread, maybe not winning outright all the time, but they've been hitting in these Champions Classic over recent years. So that's just something to keep in mind with think Kentucky and Michigan State are the 2 underdogs tonight. Harvard is Northeastern at home. That should be a win for Harvard. Northeastern is, they lost to LaSalle last game, so they're not. I don't think they should win here on the road against Harvard. And then Morehead State, who they got? They got Mercer. That's more of a toss-up, but I do think Morehead State at home too against a Mercer team that actually lost. Yeah, I would take that one because Mercer, I'm just looking. I wasn't too keen on them, but they lost to D2 Clark in their season opener, and they barely beat Chicago State last game. Morehead State has been battle tested. They've got Alabama and Purdue already on their schedule, so I feel like they're going to be ready just to eat up on Mercer. So I like that one. So I don't mind that. Plus 900 is a very juicy money line parlay there. And you get a couple of, I think good mid-majors in there to add in. So the Colgate one is what juices that one up for sure. It's risky, but listen, they've done it each of the past 2 years. Syracuse is still, another team that's kind of unproven so far this year. They've beaten up on their easy opponents so far, but I could see Colgate winning that one for sure. I think the spread is only at like 5 or 6, so it's very doable for Colgate to beat them as they've done again the last couple of years. All right, let's get some NHL picks in here to finish up. Let's bring our producer Adam Bernard. We got big NHL slate tonight, big college basketball, big NBA slates here, but
loaded Tuesday.
Yeah, loaded Tuesday here, but we got hockey. Adam, where are you going? Give us a couple picks here.
Yeah, it's a 9-game slate. NHL loves to have a heavy slate on Tuesdays. Let's start out near my neck of the woods down in the South Bay. Florida Panthers are in town to play the Sharks. And folks, I'm telling you, every time the Sharks play, you need to look at their opponent's puck line. In the Sharks' 13 losses this season, only one time was it by 1 goal. Every other time it was by 2 or more. Florida's on a 4-game winning streak. They've won 5 of 6. Well, they haven't covered that. They've only covered the puck line minus a puck and a half in 2 of those victories. Again, this is the Sharks we're talking about here. It's the defending Eastern Conference champions. I think they're going to get a nice, easy victory tonight. So, yeah, I love Florida tonight against the Sharks, and you can get that one minus 115 I saw over at BetMGM.
I bet the Flyers puck line against the Sharks was plus 130. They lost. That was unfortunate.
That was the one miss.
That was a tough day for John there.
They won that game. So, but then the loss is only one time only done it by 1 goal. Yeah, the Sharks only really they can play with the other teams that you would put in that bottom tier, NHL draft lottery class. But other than that, no, they can't hang.
Yeah, I learned that quickly. I was like, wait a minute, Flyers don't look like they can even skate. Never mind, play hockey, and they lost the Sharks. So.
The Flyers are not a good team, but because they're coached by John Tortorella, they'll never he won't let a team fully bottom out like that. Yeah. So another one I like, staying with the Florida teams on the road, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yes, they're on a 2-game losing streak, but they are coming off a no-show loss to Carolina. St. Louis is a little fat on themselves, I think, after beating Colorado the other night. Getting a little too much love here. I think the Blues they're heading right back out on the road. So, this sometimes when teams come back from a road trip, play 1 game and then go back on the road, kind of gets lost a little bit here. Tampa's looking to bounce back. I think the better team wins and easily covers here, and you're getting a nice plus 180 there. Also in this game for a prop, Nikita Kucherov over 0.5 goals, even money. He's scored in 4 straight games. He's 3rd in the league in scoring. I mean, why not take a shot for this guy to make it 5 in a row at even money against one of the other really bad teams in the league?
Nice. I love it. Yeah, we asked for some hockey picks, and you come out firing.
Yeah, listen, you told me to come prepared. I came prepared. I got one more before we get you out of here. One more, and I'm not a big prop guy, but I saw this one, and the trend makes sense. So Kyle Connor, the Jets are in hosting the Devils in Winnipeg tonight. Over 3.5 shots on goal, plus 115. He's hit this mark 8 of 14 times this season. However, when he's coming off a game where he's only had 2 shots on goals, both times in the game after that, he went with 5 and 6 shot on goal performances. He's a top line winger with guys who like to pass first on his line. So if you follow the trend, I think he'll easily get over 3.5 shots on goal against the Devils at home tonight, plus 115.
Like it.
All right. By the way, Adam, you're the co-host of the Better Hockey Now show that people can check out on Fantasy Alarm and Better Sports Network YouTube with our guy Chris Murray there too. So definitely check that out for some more hockey talk from Adam and the guys. Got a question in here from the chat for you, Adam.
Oh.
We got DeAndre Swift season. Montreal on a 5-game streak versus the Flames, but they're underdogs. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's so the Flames are just they're a team that's still trying to, they're not a good team. They're trying to figure out nothing's going right for them. Montreal, a team that is in the draft sweeps, the draft lottery, but they're a young team on the rise that can score. The fact that there's, that's a game I'm staying away from. I don't like that. I don't like anything in that game at all in terms of like the line or anything like that. But I mean, Montreal at home plus money. If you wanted to take a shot against Calgary, but Calgary is getting Jacob Markstrom back tonight, so maybe that's what they're thinking, is if he's healthy and ready to go, maybe he gives Calgary a legitimate chance against a team that's not great.
All right, there you go, DeAndre Swift season. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate all the hockey talk that you bring this show. That's about it for us. Covered NFL, NBA, college basketball, NHL, all on today's show. So hope you enjoyed that. Coming up right after us, we got the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS live show with Jon Impemba and James Grande, 9 p.m. Eastern, or not 9 p.m. Eastern. But tonight, by the way, on the Better Cast, we have NFL Trivia, 7 p.m. Eastern, NFL Trivia on the Better Cast app. So download the Better Cast app if you haven't already. Apple app, Google Play stores, must be at least 18 years old. NFL Trivia Contest, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can answer multiple choice questions in our free contest, win tickets, and redeem for authentic NFL merchandise. No purchase or subscription necessary. Scan that QR code or, again, Apple app, Google Play stores to get this Better Cast app. So that's tonight. Good luck with all your picks that we gave out and that you guys are also riding that money line college basketball parlay. I'll be checking that out to see if it cashes for you, DeAndre Swift season. But thanks for everyone for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern here on Bettor Sports Betting. So we'll see you then and take care.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports